Welcome to Historia. Have you ever wondered how a single man could reshape an entire republic and then become its most famous victim? Julius Caesar was born into an ancient Roman family, yet his ambition would carry him from the streets of Rome to the farthest frontiers of Gaul. His military brilliance, political cunning, and reforms altered the course of Western civilization. In this video we follow his rise, his rule, and the moment that ended his life on the Ides of March. Chapter 1. Origins and Early Ambitions. Gaius Julius Caesar entered the world on the 12th or 13th of July in 100 BC, a member of the Julian clan that claimed descent from the goddess Venus. Although his family bore noble ancestry, they were modest in wealth, prompting the young Caesar to seek distinction through public service. He received a traditional education in rhetoric, law, and the art of oratory, skills that would later captivate the Roman assemblies. At the age of 16 he survived the political turmoil of the Sulla proscriptions, an experience that taught him the dangers of unchecked power. These early hardships forged a resolve to climb the cursus honorum, the sequence of public offices in Rome. Caesar's first official post came in 99 BC when he was elected to the position of military tribune, serving under the consul Gaius Marius in the war against the Cimbri. The experience gave him first-hand knowledge of Roman military organization and the loyalty of soldiers to their commanders. Returning to Rome, he married Cornelia, the daughter of a prominent popularist, aligning himself with the faction that opposed the aristocratic optimates. The marriage produced a son, Caesarion, and reinforced his ties to the populist cause. By the time he entered the quaestorship in 78 BC, Caesar had already demonstrated both political acumen and a willingness to challenge the status quo. Chapter 2. Climbing the Political Ladder. In 60 BC, Caesar forged a powerful alliance known as the First Triumvirate with two of Rome's wealthiest men, Marcus Licinius Crassus and Gnaeus Pompeius Magnus. The pact was informal but decisive, allowing each member to support the other's ambitions through votes, money, and military backing. Caesar secured the consulship in that same year, using his position to pass legislation that favored the veterans of Crassus and the land reforms demanded by Pompey's veterans. His famous speech on the agrarian law displayed his skillful oratory, swaying the popular assembly despite fierce senatorial opposition. The triumvirate marked the beginning of Caesar's dominance over Roman politics. After his consulship, Caesar was appointed governor of the province of Cisalpine Gaul and Illyricum, granting him command of several legions. He used this authority to launch a series of campaigns that would become known as the Gallic Wars, extending Roman influence to the Atlantic coast. While in Gaul, he also conducted a daring crossing of the Rhine River, demonstrating Roman power to the Germanic tribes beyond the frontier. These victories filled the Roman treasury with spoils and increased his personal popularity among the soldiers and the people of Rome. By the end of his governorship, Caesar had transformed a peripheral province into a cornerstone of Roman power. Chapter 3. The Gallic Conquests. The first major battle of the Gallic Wars occurred at the river Samba in 57 BC, where Caesar's forces defeated the Nervii, a fierce Belgic tribe. He recorded the encounter in his commentaries, noting the disciplined Roman formations that held against a massive tribal charge. The victory secured the northern frontier and opened the way for further campaigns into the heart of Gaul. Caesar's ability to adapt tactics, such as constructing temporary fortifications, showcased his strategic brilliance. The triumph also earned him the loyalty of his legions, who would later follow him into civil war. In 56 BC, Caesar turned his attention to the Helvetii, a confederation attempting to migrate westward through Roman territory. He intercepted them at the Battle of Bibracte, employing a clever double envelopment that forced the Helvetii to surrender. The victory prevented a massive influx of migrants into Italy and demonstrated Rome's capacity to control the movement of peoples across its borders. Caesar's clemency toward the defeated tribes, offering them land in exchange for loyalty, helped stabilize the region. This campaign further enhanced his reputation as both a conqueror and a statesman. The final and most famous engagement of the Gallic Wars was the Siege of Alesia in 55 BC, where Caesar faced the united forces of Vercingetorix and his allies. He constructed a double line of fortifications, an inner circumvallation to contain the Gauls and an outer contravallation to repel external relief forces. Despite being outnumbered, The Romans held the lines for weeks, eventually forcing Vercingetorix to surrender. The victory marked the complete subjugation of Gaul and added immense wealth to Rome's coffers. Caesar's detailed account of the engineering feats at Alesia remains a testament to his military ingenuity. Chapter 4: Crossing the Rubicon and Civil War. By 49 BC, the political alliance of the Triumvirate had collapsed. Crassus had died in Parthia and Pompey had aligned with the Senate. Caesar, then governor of Gaul, faced a demand to disband his army and return to Rome as a private citizen. On the 1st of January he crossed the Rubicon River with the 12th Legion, uttering the phrase "the die is cast," a decisive act that declared civil war. The crossing shocked the Republic, as no general had ever brought an army across that boundary into Italy. Caesar's march southward forced Pompey and the Senate to flee to Greece, setting the stage for a protracted conflict. The first major clash of the civil war occurred at the Battle of Pharsalus in 48 BC, where Caesar's veteran legions faced the larger forces of Pompey. Using superior tactics, including a hidden fourth line of infantry, Caesar turned the tide despite being outnumbered. Pompey's defeat forced him to flee to Egypt, where he was assassinated. Caesar's victory solidified his control over the Roman heartland, and allowed him to return to the capital as the unrivaled leader. The battle demonstrated his ability to combine strategic foresight with personal bravery on the field. After the Civil War, Caesar was appointed dictator, first for a year, then for 10 years, and finally for life in 44 BC. He initiated a series of reforms, reorganizing the calendar into the Julian system, expanding the Senate to include provincial elites, and granting land to veterans. He also pursued public works, constructing new forums, roads, and a grand basilica that would later bear his name. While many praised his efficiency, a growing number of senators feared that his concentration of power threatened the Republic's traditions. This tension would soon culminate in a conspiracy that aimed to restore the old order. Chapter 5: Assassination and Its Aftermath. On the 15th of March, 44 BC, a group of about 60 senators gathered in the Curia of Pompey to hear Caesar's proposed honors. Among them were his former allies Brutus and Cassius, who believed that killing Caesar would save the Republic. As Caesar entered the Senate chamber, the conspirators surrounded him and delivered a series of 13 stab wounds. Caesar is said to have uttered a single word, "Et tu, brute," before collapsing onto the Senate floor. The murder sent shockwaves through Rome, plunging the city into immediate chaos. The power vacuum left by Caesar's death ignited a fierce struggle between his supporters and the conspirators. Mark Antony, Caesar's loyal lieutenant, delivered a powerful oration that turned public opinion against the assassins. Within weeks, Antony and Octavian, Caesar's adopted heir, formed the Second Triumvirate with Lepidus, beginning a new era of rule by 3 men. The ensuing conflicts eventually led to Octavian's victory at the Battle of Actium and his assumption of the title Augustus, marking the end of the Republic and the birth of the Roman Empire. Caesar's reforms, however, endured, influencing law, calendar, and governance for centuries. Chapter 6: Legacy and Reflection. Julius Caesar's life illustrates the thin line between hero and tyrant, a man whose ambition reshaped a civilization. His military campaigns expanded Rome's borders to the Atlantic, while his political reforms laid foundations for imperial administration. The calendar he introduced still governs our modern year, and his writings provide a rare first-person view of ancient warfare. Yet his concentration of power also demonstrated how personal ambition could undermine republican institutions. Historians continue to debate whether his actions were a necessary step toward empire or a tragic betrayal of Roman liberty. Thank you for joining Historia as we trace the rise and assassination of Rome's greatest leader. In our next video we will travel eastward to explore the life of Genghis Khan, the Mongol who changed history, following his humble beginnings to the creation of the largest contiguous empire the world has ever known. Stay tuned for another journey through the annals of power and conquest.